Hello guys, welcome to my channel. It's Shelly here. Well, today we are going to talk about Meghan Markle. I just thought I'll put together this video to talk about something that's really been on my mind, or it's on the media, and it actually sort of bothers me a lot. So I thought, let me just do a video and find out if there are people out there that are feeling the same way as I'm feeling about Meghan Markle. It appears that um, whatever Meghan might do, she just can't seem to, uh, do right, in the British media's eyes, and they simply will not leave her alone. I don't know if you've noticed it. There's been a lot in the media about Meghan since her show with Netflix was published. I think that's when I started to notice that the media was sort of talking about her a lot. I started to see the accusations and the bullying or the negative media that's just been sort of ongoing relentlessly, that they are putting this woman down. And I've just been wondering why. Why? And it actually seems to have intensified since she put a date for her Netflix show. And I don't know if many of you guys have actually noticed it, and how do you actually feel about it? Because for me, it just seems to get to me a lot, the level of hate and the level of just people feeling that they can talk down at this woman, for doing something good. I mean, she's working so that she can support her family. This is what people wanted her to do when she left the royal family with Harry. They wanted her to work for her money, and she's doing that. And it seems that by doing that, she can't win. And she's doing a cooking program. There's nothing wrong. I think it was beautifully done. And the remarks and the reviews, and it almost felt like everybody was on some sort of bandwagon to try and put her down. But every step that she takes is criticized, all sorts of accusation. And I think it's wrong that you'll find that a lot of them are women, actually. Middle-aged women are the ones that are coming out there and really putting out the hate and putting out all the negativity out there. And it appears that anything that she does, she'll never get a foot right with the British people. But I think the level of hate, I never actually knew that it was there. There were people like that could just hate somebody to that extent, and other women. And when you actually look on places like Facebook and you scroll to see the profile pictures of people saying such mean things, such nasty things, some people are simply saying, you need to go away, or that thing, referring to, and really personalizing these attacks. And when I read them, I get really upset because, I feel that when Meghan came into the royal family and she married Harry, it was a positive thing for most people. So there were a lot of people that actually related to her, that looked like her, that felt that, even looking like that in Britain, in modern Britain, you can end up being a princess, you can end up achieving anything. So she was a role model to a lot of people who are biracial, who are white, who are Black, or some people who have got biracial children. And I feel that she really united people from different backgrounds. And there are people that actually saw that story, that marriage is a positive story. Of course, things didn't work out in England. And I think from looking at the media now, most of you who do not know the background, you can see what she encountered. The negative media, they constantly were comparing her to Kate and putting similar posts on different occasions. But if Kate did it, she did no wrong. If Meghan did it, oh, why is she doing that? Why is she embracing her stomach? Oh, she's a new age person doing A, B, C, D. And yet I actually thought she looked stunning. She didn't put her foot wrong when she married Harry. She tried her best, and as we all can imagine, that being in a part of the royal family, being in the limelight all the time, can come with its challenges, especially the scrutiny, the level of scrutiny that comes with just that role. And I felt like she handled it quite well. And I felt like even the Queen was very fond of her. And she was very popular. I mean, a few times when the media, covered some of her stories, it appears that when she went out with the Queen for an overnight trip on the train, she made the Queen laugh, she made the Queen giggle, and most of the media papers were saying that they'd actually never seen the Queen show that sort of publicly, that level of laughter in public. So we thought that she brought new flavor, something different to the Queen. But somewhere, somehow, I'm sure there were few people within the British media that didn't like her. And they started to slowly put these articles that indicated somewhat that, she wasn't as good. And then I think they got worse. And we later learned that in the background, that she struggled a lot with coping with the role, with, mental health and depression. And they tried to reach out and things didn't quite work out, which then led to Harry feeling like he wanted to protect his family. And, I don't blame Harry for doing that because, you look at what happened to his mom, Diana. The media was good to her up to a point, and when they didn't like her, and they turned against her, and it didn't end well. So I could imagine what Harry was going through when he decided to protect his wife and his family and moving them away from this country, because he was traumatized by his what happened to his mom, and he just could see history repeating itself. The media's obsession with Meghan turned sour, and suddenly they started to, not like her, which makes me wonder whether the media's relationship with her was actually genuine in the first place, or they were just waiting for that moment where she would put her foot wrong. Then they would start attacking her. Because I often heard stories in the media where there were accusations that she was bullying other staff members. I mean, this was the first time in the history of royal family where information was leaked from people that worked. I'm sure they signed some sort of confidentiality paperwork where they would not be discussing anything that happened in the royal household with the press. But it appears that there were all these stories that made it to the newspapers. And I often wondered, how do they know who on earth would actually speak to the media about Meghan? But it all just started slowly, then it grew. And of course, there are people out there that would love an object of hate, and they latched on to Meghan, and it looks like they stick their heads out every time there's an article. But it also looks like the media is contributing by the headlines, and they pick the worst headlines and they bully, and they start to sort of, I feel it's a form of bullying, and what I can't understand is that nobody out there, even in the royal family, is actually saying enough is enough. I mean, this is a country that is very, very big on mental health. And this behavior is so wrong in every way, because it can affect somebody's mental health seriously. It can have serious long-term effects. And why do people feel that it's okay to do that to somebody else, to Meghan and her family? And what is it that she's done so wrong to deserve or to warrant this sort of treatment from the public? I think it's highly, highly unfair. Yes, she may have spoke out on Oprah, but she had reasons why she spoke up, and everybody seems to have forgotten what happened prior to them speaking out. Nobody talks about it, and nobody tried to even mediate and fix the whole problem. Everybody just wanted out, and everybody feels as though they are qualified to actually have a go at Meghan. And it almost feels like this whole Britishness of being kind-hearted people, good people, has now almost gone away now, because it's Meghan. It's one rule for everybody else, but for Meghan, you can crush her. You can practice everything that we preach in this country. about being kind, about being good, about letting love lead, about showing each other compassion, about really looking after each other's mental health. It almost feels like it does not matter when it comes to this human being who I look at as a human being with feelings, with emotions, a mom who's going through life. And we all know when they left this country, the British people spoke out that they shouldn't be paid from the British taxpayers. So that lifeline was cut and they had to go out there and fend for themselves. So it appears doing good is actually wrong and nobody's stopping it. So by people within the public or people within senior roles who represent mental health, who stand for to safeguard the wider public, are not speaking up, or even from the royal family, the fact that they are not speaking up, I feel that they are turning a blind eye when it suits them. When then it happens to somebody that they care about, then is it fair then to make a big deal out of it? And I don't think it's fair, because the whole thing is not doing the image of the royal family good. The fact that they've kept quiet and turned a blind eye on this issue, that they're not stopping it publicly, saying, no, you need to stop. Somebody could do wrong, but who is right in this world? Who amongst us can say that we've lived a perfect, blameless life? So Meghan and Harry are also human beings, and I think their feelings do matter. And I remember the headlines recently that when Meghan postponed her show on Netflix, the cooking show, and I mean, even that she postponed it in light of the wildfires in California, the cynicism that this was met with, again, it's another one that you think, what can she do any right? Nobody seems to actually say, oh, well, at least she's done that. The criticism continues, and I mean, I've wondered why this is happening. Often when I see it, it upsets me, because I think the world has turned ugly. And I think the world where people have been kind, looking after our neighbors, looking out for each other, where we like all people regardless, I sometimes wonder, why are some of these people not speaking up? And why could this be happening to Meghan? Could this be jealousy? Could the British people be jealousy? Could she have been just too much for a lot of the British people? Because, when I look at Meghan, I look at a very confident, beautiful, intelligent young woman who made her money prior to meeting Harry. She was an actress. She had a food blog. She had a lovely house where she did her food blogs, and this show that she's doing on Netflix is not anything new, because that's what she was doing, but she had to close her blog because, when she married into the royals. So it's not anything new that she's doing for fame or for anything. She clearly has shown before that she had a love for flowers, a love for animals, a love for cooking, and we loved looking at her blog until it closed. So she carried herself well as a royal. She dressed well. You can clearly see that she looks after her physical body quite well as well. So she exercises, she works out, and also she is I think she's quite a smart woman, a great wife to Harry and their children, and they're trying under the circumstances, they're trying. And I think to achieve what Meghan would have achieved prior to meeting Harry, I think it takes somebody who's very business-minded, who's quite clever, who also is quite confident, who's a go-getter, which I think is a positive attribute to have. But I feel that ruffles other people, and I also feel, could it be that she's biracial? Could it be that some people just can't stomach the idea of a biracial woman oozing with such confidence, having achieved what Meghan has achieved? And could it be that because Harry fell in love with her, and that some people just haven't gotten over that? Could it be that? But why the hate? Why so much hate? Up until, recently, seeing the level of hate projected towards Meghan, I honestly thought that this country was a very tolerating country. It was a country that, was more about love, more about, teaching people how to do good, or encouraging how to do good, rather. But now I'm not so sure, or it appears to me from what I see on the media that there are a number of people that dislike Meghan. And when you see that there are, some that, quite a few or quite a lot that actually do like her, but I'm not so sure. And I would like to hear from those that are watching, what do you think is actually going on? What do you think is the reason why Meghan is being put down, and why is it allowed in this day and age to go ahead to, and for people to be allowed just to, some very serious media outlets are writing some very negative thing, and they're inciting this level of hate there. The tone of the headlines of some of the newspapers are, inciting people to have that negative reaction, and that's being allowed, and especially now there seems to be a very aggressive campaign against Meghan, and I wonder why, and I just really, I remember reading from somebody, one of the uh, police officers, who were saying that the level of threat, for Meghan when she was in England was quite high, and they're still allowed to go ahead and do it. They're still doing it. They're still carrying on, and I just find it very sad that we're living in a world where people say one thing and mean the other. And this whole Meghan issue has been a real eye-opener, and I wonder when and whether it will actually go away, or is it just people are just making money with her name, that they just feel like if they say these negative things, then they're doing it for views, for likes. And has it come to that somebody's life is worth views, that people will just put posts out there negatively? I mean, recently she attended, she went to help out with these fires in California, and one of the media outlets in Britain sort of really criticized it. The way they worded the headline was as if to say she was interfering with the whole process with the fire brigade. She wanted to be there ahead as the first person to attend. She can't get away from the media. And yet there were other high profile figures that were clearly there. And she has grown up in California and most of her life, and she was just helping her neighbors. And some people actually said they appreciated the help that she was offering on the day. But that wasn't the headline. And so what has this world come to? What has Britain come to? Why have we been reduced, or why has this country been reduced to this? And I think that needs to stop. We need to practice what we preach and let love lead, because this is just not fair. And I'd like to hear from those people that think otherwise, that feel they don't agree with what I've said here, but I still feel that good will go a long way, and that something that is not so good should be stopped. The same thing that we tell our children, that don't go and be bad to others, don't go and cause problems at school. What is it that as parents that we teach our children? And why is it that a lot of the mature adults that are saying all these horrible things about Meghan are people probably in their 50s, 60s, that are saying some nasty, mean, rude, derogatory things on social media? And the same people are grandmothers, they're mothers, and they tell their children not to be mean. Don't be mean to others. This is how you behave yourself. But I'm actually shocked that a lot of these people are behaving like this on social media. And it's really wrong, and somebody's got to call it out for what it is, and we need to stop all this, So anyway, I'd like to hear from you in the comments box, and let's have a chat about this. But it is a very sensitive subject, and we need to stop bullying. We need to stop internet trolling. We need to stop harassment, because if that happened to our children or our loved ones, we wouldn't like it. So why is it any different with Meghan? What if her children come across all these posts? How is that going to affect them? It needs to be stopped. And that's my thought. And let me know what you think in the comments box. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate you. Thank you. Till next time. Bye.